finance radio show, only on Financial News and Talk. Now live in studio, your host, local and national real estate expert and consumer advocate, Ron Siegel.
And hello again. Welcome to Ron Siegel Radio. This is the show with no real boundaries as we discuss current events, financial markets, politics, sports, even poking fun at the rest of the media. This is the show that connects the dots of confusion delivered by conflicting media reports. We connect the dots so you know the actions you can take, how your family or business can benefit from current events. Most of all, thank you for joining me. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day. We have a very focused show. We only chat about items that affect the roof over your head, your bank account, and anything I feel would benefit you. But before I get into our intriguing content today, please join me in welcoming our featured guest, first-timer on Ron Siegel Radio, Kelly Ernby, State Assembly candidate, 74th District.
That's right.
Welcome.
Thanks for having me. Good morning, everyone.
Glad to have you with us. And let me remind you, if you ever have any more finance-related questions, I am the consumer advocate looking out for you. And you can reach out to me directly, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. Just remember, that's the number you call anytime for assistance. When you call that number, it comes directly to me first. There are no operators standing by. I am it.
Quiet, numbskulls. I'm broadcasting.
While I do have a great team when it comes to developing a financing plan or plan to save you money, I personally work with you, even if you don't have any needs today. Save this number in your phone for future reference, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. And yes, of course, it is a beautiful day on Ron Siegel Radio. We are celebrating today. Any reason to celebrate, I am all over it. National Old Stuff Day. I don't know about that one. Yeah, we'll get rid of that one. National Read Across America Day. Now, I noticed that it is Dr. Seuss Day. That's about my reading level. So we can connect with that one. That might not be too bad. I've shared with you many, many times. If it wasn't for audible.com, I'd have a serious problem. What else do we have to celebrate today? Oh, I see where we're going with this one because I have, as you know, beaten anorexia. So we are going to go with National Banana Cream Day. Yes, indeed. I'll stick with that one. Let me know where you're getting that banana cream pie. That's all. I guess Polly's will do it for me. I better say that I love Polly's, being that they are friends of ours and private clients. I might as well say that I love Polly's. They're good people. I love the pies. I'm not quite old enough to go to the restaurants there. They do focus on someone that's about 150 years older than me, but that's just a different point. We'll continue our conversation. Let's take a look at what the markets are doing today. You might have to call your cardiologist. That's just all I can say about the markets today because they are on a roller coaster. And I started looking at the markets about 2:30 this morning. The futures market, Dow futures, were up about 453 points. By about 6 o'clock California time, they were up about 6 points. We saw the market down over 100 points. Now we're looking at the market being up 740 points. Now, if you're in the stock market, that's good for you. You're probably happy about that. If you're looking to retire in the next 30 years and you're not doing it right now, you're probably happier last week when you can buy things significantly cheaper. Just think about this. If you didn't buy last week, it's basically like saying, I don't want to go to any place that has anything on sale. So right now, the markets are up 746 points until the very next time we hear something about the coronavirus. That's just the way it'll be. And we're going to continue getting that going on and on. Let's take a look at what is going on. S&P 500 is up about 80 points. NASDAQ up 228 points. And the dreaded oil. Yes, let's see where oil is. That is up $2.24 per barrel. What does that mean to us in Calizuela? Well, let's take a look at the gas prices. In the national average, $2.43.50. In Calizuela, yes, we are paying an extra $1.03 per gallon. Oh! Yeah, above the national average. Now, we could go to Hawaii. Well, that sounds like a good idea, right? Their price is only 13 cents a gallon. I guess they do a good job in Hawaii of refining oil. I must have missed those refineries there. But think about this one. If you're looking for gas prices, Mississippi, I don't know if you want to go to Mississippi, $2.12 a gallon in Mississippi. We can look over at Oklahoma, $2.14 a gallon. Texas, $2.12 a gallon. What does Mississippi and Texas have in common? Well, maybe if we look at one of my favorite websites, it gets me ill every time I look at it because I am a native Calizuelan. I lived here back when it was part of America. So we look at, see here, what's going on in Calizuela. So think about this one. $12.25 billion every year leaving Calizuela. That's adjusted gross income going to Texas, not just to buy gas. I guess there's a lot better reason to go to Texas. But we're still on that same pace going back through 1992 to the latest numbers available. 2018, $73.52 billion leaving in adjusted gross income from Calizuela. Yes, going to Nevada, Texas, Arizona, Oregon, Washington. Now, who's coming to Calizuela? Right? People from New York, their taxes are about the same, so they're used to it. Illinois, they get shot there, so you don't have to worry about that. New Jersey, high taxes. Massachusetts, they've got the Indian for their state representative, or maybe it's a mascot. I don't know. Pocahontas there. Connecticut, they're all coming to Calizuela. Why? Because we've got better weather and the taxes are about the same, right? I mean, you look at some of the numbers, that's just the way it is. So let's move along because every time, as I said, I look at some of these numbers and it's just enough to make make me ill, probably sane people too. But that's just a different story. Let's see what else is going on in the morning briefing today. Now, here's the issue. I'm going to share this with you. Anybody that's listened to Ron Siegel Radio for any length of time knows this as a fact. The markets will always overreact, and now we're watching the media. Yeah, the fake news media, they're always overreacting also. It's all about the coronavirus. And if you listen to some of the medical people, obviously I am not one of the medical people, but you listen to them and they're very quick to tell us that, don't cough on somebody because that's how somebody else is going to get it. So I don't think I need a doctor to tell me not to cough on you. I think that's just a personal opinion there. So if I cough without covering and I put that onto a banister, onto our microphones, something like that, don't touch them, right? Clean up a little bit. Why is Clorox stock going up? It's because they're cleaning things out. That's just the way it is. More people die from the flu. Are we going as crazy over the flu as we're going over the coronavirus? No. So don't go crazy on this. Now, I shared this with you also last week when the market was down, 4,000 points as measured by the Dow Jones Industrial Average. Markets always overreact. Now, part of that overreaction has also been, and I'm going to be the first to tell you because I've been talking about this for a long time, that home loan rates, they are down near the 10-year Treasury is about as low as it's ever been. I must admit, last year when I told you my forecast on interest rates, I missed it by just a little bit. When we were looking at a 2% 10-year yield, and I said we were going to go down to somewhere between 128 and 132. I had so many people telling me that I was totally off my rocker. I had no idea what I was talking about. I shouldn't be on the air. I shouldn't be helping people with home loans. Well, where is that 10-year Treasury today? Should I get a drum roll? I don't know if we can get a drum roll on here that quickly, but I told you 128 to 132. Today and I told you fourth quarter this year, we're sitting right now at 1.09. So we did go down quite a bit. We went down further than I thought. We went down quicker than I thought. We're going down to 0.95 on the 10-year Treasury. Again, probably by the first quarter of next year. Watch it. Make sure you're strategizing on your home loans the right way so you're not paying too much money. And you're not going to be upset then when you do this refinance next year. Here's the issue. If I'm wrong, I'm not, but if I am wrong and I tell you that we're still going down further and you take care of that home loan structuring today, if I'm wrong, and I'm not, but you're still locked in at a very, very low rate, mid threes for almost everybody. If you're doing a cash out refinance, now is the time, because that's going to cost you an extra 3/4 of a point. So do that now. Wait 6 months when interest rates are lower than they are today, and you're going to get a better rate. It's going to be better for you, better for your family. Now, I'm highly a big proponent right now of taking money out of your real estate. Take as much cash out as you can afford and buy rental property right now, because interest rates are so low, right? You can be a homeowner. They're not one thing I can tell you about Calizuela, we're not going to make any more real estate. We've got all we've got. Now, we might find other areas that we're going to develop, but they're not making any more of this stuff. So right now, perfect time. Take some money out of your real estate, reinvest it into another piece of real estate. We're going to talk to you a little later on today about what you might want to do with your tax refund. So we'll talk about all of that and more. You can reach me anytime. Our off-air number, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or RonSiegelRadio.com. How your tax refund can move you toward homeownership this year. The Girl Scout cookies, we're still offering them, and that is our double ender. Orangewood Home, that's where the beneficiary is. I think it's Orangewood is the beneficiary. I'll have to look it up on my phone, because I did get a text from the young lady's dad today. I've known him for a long time. Yeah, they're taking cookies over to Orangewood on Friday, so we are still getting our list together so we can help out the folks over there. Again, you can reach me anytime. Off-air number, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or RonSiegelRadio.com. Connect with us. Facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio, on Twitter @Ron Siegel. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, shame on you. But the replay will be available. Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube. Ron Siegel, the number 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
In the middle of our streets, our house. In the middle of our...
Are you earning a safe, secure 10+% return on your investments? Is your credit score over 800? Are you living in the home of your dreams, or simply where you think you can afford? If the answer to any of these questions
1990 so we can show you our appreciation for your service.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. The Mortgage Minute today being brought to you by our friends at Gold Star Mortgage. When you're ready for that next mortgage, Gold Star has the programs and the products. Give me a call, 800-306-1990. I will put you in touch with the team that will help you. Take a look at this right now. Remember, if you're listening to the last segment, and you should have been, the Dow Jones Industrial Average was up about 760, 770 points. Now we're up 660 points. I told you the markets always overreact. They are doing that right now. NASDAQ is up 195 points. The 10-year Treasury at 1.085 right now. And the mortgage-backed securities, they were up about 53 basis points. Most people don't understand that stuff. Don't worry about it because we do. We help you with that. They're up 39 basis points. Interest rates and the bond prices always move in the opposite directions. Just a mathematical formula for you. So they come down just a little bit in the last couple of hours. All of that stuff is available on that super secret website. Yes, it is, google.com. The question is, why is this happening? What is causing this? Well, we know the biggest item is the coronavirus. It's fears about the coronavirus. It's not the virus itself, because we wouldn't have all these things going on if it was just because of the virus. We have more people die every year because of the flu. I think I saw somewhere that more people have died of aspirin poisoning, but I'd have to look that one up. I'd have to get our crack staff to look that one up for me. But that's the issue, is there's a lot of chaos here. And then we've got the geniuses on TV, and I should say this with the president as well, wanting the Federal Reserve chairman to lower interest rates. Now, let me ask you just a simple question, because I am a simple guy. When interest rates change, does your cold go away? Probably not. I've never seen I've had a couple of colds now and then, and I've got a bad knee. Maybe if they lower interest rates far enough, my knee will feel better. I don't get that correlation. But the issue, they keep talking about, well, the Federal Reserve is going to lower interest rates a 0.5 point. Okay, so what is that going to do to anybody? What is that going to do for anybody? It's going to just delay things, and we do know one thing for certain. Whenever the Federal Reserve gets involved in a recession, it prolongs it. So maybe we can get the chairman just to turn off his Twitter feed and ignore what the president has to say here. And I agree with a vast majority of what the president says, and I understand why he's saying these things. But hey, you know something? Just ignore that part of it. A lot of economic reports this week. The ones we're getting most important, it's Jobs Week, which means that ADP employment report comes out Wednesday. The BLS report comes out on Friday. The market's looking for roughly 100 to 175,000 jobs in each of those reports. But here's the issue. Ignore them this time, because the big part of the market is all about the coronavirus, and these reports are basically done before any of those numbers get into the mix. So what you see in those reports, the reactions from the market in those reports, it's not going to be a very, very meaningful. So I'm going to just suggest stay calm. If you're thinking about buying stocks, and a lot of people are, and a lot of people should be. I mean, if you like Microsoft, and I'm not giving you any financial advice, but if you like Microsoft 2 weeks ago at $187 a share, wouldn't you like it a little bit better today at $167 a share? Right? If you're not trying to sell it, don't worry about it. Buy it, store it. I can tell you this, I've been stocking up on Ford stock. Why? Because it's a good company? No. They're not going out of business. They're not in a very strong company, but they're paying right now about a 7% dividend. Well, we saw in 2008, 2009, the federal government's not going to let them go bankrupt. So why wouldn't I want to be in that? Not saying it's right for you, because I do not give financial guidance. That is the Mortgage Minute, brought to you by our friends at Gold Star Mortgage. So one of the things I like doing on the broadcast is I find it very educational. I hope you find our broadcast educational as well. And one of the best things that I get to do is I get to talk to people who are running for office. They're making public policy. And I've shared this with a group of individuals last week at a meeting that we had. And I said, a lot of us focus on what's going on at the presidential level. What's going on with the Congress people? What's going on in Washington, D.C.? And that's all well and good. But the fact of the matter is anything they do today isn't going to trickle down to us little folk for a long time. The people that are right here local in our own backyard that are making local policy, and I say city policy, county policy, even to the extent state policy, they're the ones that are going to have more effect on us more quickly. So we get to speak to one of those folks trying to do that. Kelly Ernby is the candidate. We're in Calizuela, Kelly. So it's, some of us have trouble. We put on our moniker that we're conservative or Republican, and some people think that we've got the coronavirus then, right? But you're running on the Republican side?
Yes.
Nice. Okay, so I shouldn't say my personal opinions, right? But how about I do anyway? So tell me a couple of the items that you're most concerned with.
Well, the crime and the homelessness and illegal immigration in our state. We're giving out handouts to the illegal immigrants. And my own brother moved to Texas. You were talking about Texas earlier today. And when I'm seeing my own family members and friends leaving the state, it's too much to bear. And so I decided I'm going to go to Sacramento and do something about it.
That's great because that, I one of the things you said there, we don't see this in the news hardly ever. Right. So you decided that you want to go to Sacramento to do something about it. You're not carrying a protest sign. You're not telling people that they're a bunch of idiots. Many of them are. But, the way that we do it in the United States is we run for office to make a difference.
Absolutely.
So what are some of the things you're looking at? Let's start. I know one of the three biggest issues, obviously, that you mentioned are the biggies. The only one I would add to that I hear all the time from different groups is coronavirus. But let's start off with homelessness. What are your ideas there?
Well, I have a very detailed plan. This is a very complicated problem, and it can't be solved with a one-size-fits-all solution. So I think we have to start off, though, treating it as an emergency. We're treating coronavirus more seriously than we are the homeless problem. There's a public safety hazard. These people are on the streets. They're pooping and peeing, they're using needles, and it's created a hazard. So I would treat that as an emergency, clean that up right away, and then look at long-term, what's happening? Why are we dealing with a homeless population that's growing and growing and growing? And I think we need more mental health care. Again, we need addiction treatment, and we need tough love policies to force people to have the treatment that they need. It's not nice to leave people dying on the streets. And what we've done and the liberal policy for the last 2 decades has left us in a place where we're letting people die on the street. I don't think that's a good thing for people. It's not about their rights. It's about protecting them. And so we need that. We need to protect our veterans that are looking and on the bubble of becoming homeless. Foster children that are dumped out of the system are at risk. So, the final piece of my plan is to really, you got to have job placement programs. We got to help the people we can, but we got to recognize that we aren't going to be able to help everyone. So we need a place for people that can't help themselves. And we need to stop the people on the bubble. There's a risk population of elderly now in our communities that if any of the prices go up any more than they are, they're on that risk of losing their homes and becoming homeless. And these are elderly people moving into their cars and their RVs.
Wow. And
there's a need to find those people, and let's stop that from getting worse. And so it's a big, big plan. It's going to be multi-parts, and it's not going to happen overnight, but we need to really focus on this and treat it seriously.
So you made a comment in there, and it's something that I've been involved with one of the nonprofits that we deal with. And Sacramento has some program, and I should know the name of it, but I don't remember it. America First or American. Basically, it says that you have to treat everything as one size fits all in order to get state funding. And you're just coming up with ideas where it's not one size fits all.
Right.
I mean, the center that we helped with, they were dealing with families that were homeless, and the state basically says, well, you've got to put sex offenders into the same facility as you have little kids. Doesn't quite make sense to me.
It doesn't. And if somebody's seriously mentally ill, you can't just give them a house and think they're going to be able to stay there. How are they going to make ends meet and survive? And the community needs to come together. Another thing I'd like to say, this is not something the government can solve on its own. And so as part of my plan, we're going to have to get the nonprofits out there. We're going to have to work together as a community. The churches need to get more involved. We can't just throw a bunch of money at this problem. That is what the Democrat policy is now. Let's get more money and we're going to build homes for everyone. And that is what they think is going to work. And let's make every city build a homeless shelter in their city and try and take care of this problem on their own. Well, we can see that it doesn't work. And so we need to do something different and look at the individuals, look at the root cause of why these people are homeless, so we can stop this and make our state beautiful like California should be.
And you're right, it should be. I mean, because I'm a big believer that some of this, the start of the homelessness or the exacerbation of the homelessness was when the state stopped funding some of the state mental facilities.
Absolutely.
Right? I mean, there was a place for those folks that needed help. And I would submit that, if you've got a mental problem, you probably don't even know that you need help. Right? We've got to have that safety net for people.
Right. And, you wouldn't let a 2-year-old run around on the streets when they don't know what's best for them. And so we can do much better. And the human thing to do is to really get the community together and help these people. We can't just do it by throwing money at the problem. The cities can't do this on their own. And so that's one of my top priorities, is to bring my years of experience. I have 3 degrees. I have a master's in public administration. I've been a lawyer for almost 20 years.
Holy cow.
I work at the district attorney's office.
I better watch what I say.
Right. But problem solving, doing complicated problems, not politics, is one of the other reasons I'm running. I have a job. I don't need a job. But we need somebody in Sacramento who can actually do the work of the people again and get the politics out of the way, stop overtaxing and overregulating, and go back to the people. We need to help these people. And we need people like my brother to not have to move away to Texas.
Something we all hear about, folks that are doing that and businesses moving, but hey, at least we can import illegal immigrants. So we're going to talk about that when we come back. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate current events and the financial markets. We're going to continue our conversation further with Kelly Ernby when we come back. We're going to also talk a little bit about how your tax refund can move you toward home ownership this year. Girl Scout cookies, yes, I eat a lot of them, but no, this time we're going to be talking about giving them away. All that and more. You can reach me anytime. Our off-air number, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. Connect with us, facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio, on Twitter, @Ron Siegel. And if you have miss any part of our broadcast, Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube. Ron Siegel, the numeral 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Siegel Lending Team offers you buying power. Let's say you can afford a monthly mortgage payment, including principal and interest, of around $1,900.
You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990. 800-306-1990. Before we get into the real-time real estate segment, a little bit of housekeeping. So yes, indeed, we are doing our Girl Scout cookie drive again. We call it a double-ender this year, or double-sided. So you can send any amount of money you want to Ron Siegel Radio, $5, $25, $100, whatever you want. Send it to us. We've got a young lady in Yorba Linda that we are going to buy all the cookies from. Now, here is the caveat that we did with her is her family is going to deliver them to Orangewood for us. So every box of cookies that you buy from Ron Siegel Radio, 100% of the money goes to them. They will take it over to Orangewood. And by the way, if you do get $25 worth, we will send you a $100 Dining Guru restaurant certificate as a thank you from Ron Siegel Radio. So that is the one item right there. We'll talk about the college planning that we're doing. We'll talk about that later on in the segment, in the broadcast. But also, hey, let's talk about the real-time real estate segment. We are going to do that real quick because I want to spend more time with our featured guest today. But hey, let's take a look at this real quick. And I've got a couple of the graphics, I think, note to our production team, how you can actually use your tax refund toward home ownership this year. That is the subject. If you're looking to buy a home, 2020, you have thought about putting your tax refund toward a down payment. In many instances, the tax refund will be sufficient for that down payment because there are a lot of programs out there that match funds. There are programs out there that have down payment assistance programs where you can basically get into a house of your own with no money. If you're a veteran, you know that you don't have to maybe you don't know it because a lot of veterans don't. 0 down payment on the Veterans Administration loans. And by the way, it is the cheapest money on the market. So if you're looking for that, hey, how about using your refund for that? Based on data released by the Internal Revenue Service, Americans can expect an estimated average refund of $2,962 when filing their taxes this year. I am going to share, if I can get this to pop up on the screen for you, which I think I just did as I minimize the picture of me, which you'll probably be happy about that. So there is the average tax refund by state. Calizuela, I guess we tax people a lot more money. So our average refund is $3,069. You can see the numbers on every state on the map that we've just posted for you. I've got one more screen that I'm trying to get in here as quickly as possible. $3,069 when you've got a 3.5% FHA loan, or you've got the down payment assistance that you can get with it. Or if you've got really good credit, 3% down on a Fannie Mae or a Freddie Mac, or 0 down on a USDA loan. All of those are products out there that'll help you get into your new home and not have to come up with a lot of money. According to the programs from the Federal Housing Authority, Freddie Mac and Fannie Mae, many first-time buyers can purchase a home with as little as 3% down. Truth be told, a 20% down payment is not always required to buy a house, even though that's a common misconception. VA loans, as I mentioned, 0 down. So how can my tax refund help? If you take into account the median home sale price by state, well, what do you know? We've got a map for that too. I think we got a map for everything today, don't we? And some of them are even big enough that old people like me can read. But here is what percentage of a 3% down is covered by the average tax refund. Well, it covers about 20% of your average down payment for California. And again, remember, there are a lot of different programs out there to help you. Bottom line, saving for a down payment can seem like a daunting task. But the more you know about what's required, the more prepared you'll be to make the best decision for your family and you. Tax season, your refund could double as a key to home ownership. That is the real-time real estate segment, again, brought to you by the area trusted real estate professionals of Ron Siegel Radio. Text NEST, N-E-S-T, to 79564. Find your dream home before someone else does. If you have your dream home, text SLT Home Digest to 79564. We'll tell you exactly what the county recorder knows about your property, what the market thinks about your property. That is the subject today. We are going to continue our conversation this morning. Kelly Ernby, State Assembly candidate, is in the house. We're talking about some of the ideas that she has as a candidate or in Sacramento. If you didn't catch her conversation on homelessness, well, that you have to listen to the replay, because now we're going to talk about one of our favorite topics on Ron Siegel Radio. And we use the real term, not the Democrat term. We call it illegal immigration, right? It's not undocumented, because I can't have an undocumented gun. It would be illegal for me to have a gun that wasn't registered. So we're going to call it illegal. What are your ideas there, Kelly?
Well, there's a lot of problems that we're having. First of all, we need to unwind the free handouts to the illegal immigrants. Since I've been running, Gavin Newsom just keeps giving more and more rights to the illegal immigrants. He's given handouts, free health care to the illegal immigrants. I'm against that. I'm against the sanctuary state and sanctuary cities, and I would fight hard against having us have a state of lawlessness. My own husband is an immigrant, so I like to talk about immigration as an American. We all came from immigrants. I'm not against immigration. I've been through the green card process with my husband. He came from Sweden, and it cost $10,000. We had to wait and spend the time to go through that process. So I say there is a process. We need to follow it. And as a state representative, there's limited things you can do, because that's more of a federal issue. So I would be demanding that the federal government protect our borders and do its job to make sure we have a legal system and we're following it. And like I said, the things I can do in the state level is stop handouts, stop making it more enticing to come to Calizuela.
So maybe I can get rid of, we can get rid of some of the taxes that we're all paying. Maybe we can lower our gas tax. We're not giving away things to people that are breaking our laws.
Right. I mean, we can't afford it. The legal citizens that are here cannot afford their lives. We can't afford to give out free handouts. And it's not a good system, even for those that are trying to immigrate here. And I've been working very hard in my campaign to reach the legal immigrant populations. And I will tell you, the Asian population, the Hispanic populations that are legally here, they're small business owners, and the Democratic policies are hurting them the worst. And so when I go out and tell them, as a Republican, I want to cut your taxes, I want to get the government regulations out of the way, they say, then I'm a Republican.
Right. Yeah, the bottom line there is if you've got 3 degrees, you're a lot smarter than me, but I look at some of these things and say, well, just basic supply and demand. Right, if we bring in a lot of illegal immigrants, and I have nothing against, like you say, legal immigrants, but they're coming in and they're going to get a job somewhere. They're going to take the job of somebody that's here legally, right? Because we don't want them to be mooching off society, right? And many of the people that are immigrants, legal or illegal, are coming here for a better life.
Right.
Right. So they're going out and they're going to work, but it's supply and demand. If you increase the supply with the illegal population, well, the price goes down. It's basic economics 101.
Yeah, but we're really squeezing. The middle class in California can't bear this. I have a friend who's a teacher, and she said she's seeing people come in with Lamborghinis that are getting government handouts. And the people that are the poor people having the handouts seem to have more money and an easier life than the regular people. And we've just gone way too far away from a state of law and order. There's so many other things I could say about this. I'm narrowing this just to immigration right now, but as a law and order candidate, I'm going to fight to make sure we're protecting our borders. We have a legal system. We need to follow it.
Yeah, you're exactly right. I mean, it's just crazy how much we're giving more rights basically to somebody that's here illegally. And it flows right into our veterans as well, right? I mean, there's only so much money that's available. And I know that Sacramento thinks that there's unlimited money, but as we have people leaving the state, the adjusted gross income, the reason I bring that up so often is those are the taxpayers, right? Those are people, if you have $72 billion leaving the state, that's all that money that we can't tax, and the more we have to tax, the less everyone has to pay.
Right? It's not sustainable.
And the other ideas are gases. I mean, the wealthy that decide they want to stay here, they actually have the ability to go and buy that Tesla, right? The average person is going and paying the taxes at the gas pump. So who is Sacramento taxing?
Right. The Sacramento policies are hurting the regular people. They say they're the party that's for the people, and I disagree. I think the Republican way, when Ronald Reagan was elected, he brought the government back to the people, and the government is doing far too much, and we need a small government. We need to get the government out of the way and get more money in consumers' pockets. And that is what I'm going to fight for. Lower taxes. I think the consumer should keep and spend their hard-earned money how they see fit for their family.
Absolutely. I mean, here's just a vast number. I don't know what the California budget is, and I don't want to put you on the spot about the total amount of a California budget. But you think about $73.5 billion in adjusted gross income leaving every year. That's $7.5 billion if we were at a 10% tax rate. Right? I don't know if that's the more or less in the budget, but that's a lot of money.
Well, that's why they're looking at the split roll and trying to drastically increase the property tax on business and commercial property owners. They need to go make up a difference. And instead of doing what I would do, which is go back to the basics and cut taxes, look at the people, the hardworking people, let's protect our citizens again. Now they want to increase tax on business to the point where we're going to end up a ghost town. I mean, we're not going to be Calizuela. We're going to be nothing.
Yeah, we're Death Valley.
Yeah.
Call the whole state that. Great information. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate, current events, and the financial markets. When we come back, note to producers, we're going to dispense with our Your Credit Matters segment today so we can talk more with Kelly. You reach me anytime. Our off-air number, 800-306-1990. 800-306-1990 or RonSiegelRadio.com. Connect with us. Facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio, on Twitter @Ron Siegel. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, shame on you. The replay is available, Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube. Ron Siegel, the number 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Are you living in the home of your dreams or simply where you think you can afford? Are you earning a safe, secure 10+% return on your
here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, the Your Credit Matters segment today being brought to you by creditsanitizer.com. You have a credit report. It is wrong. They all are. What are you doing about it? Credit Sanitizer has these solutions for you. We are going to dispense with their report today. I'm sure Jeff Sipes and the Blue Water Credit team want to hear more from Kelly than me anyway, so we're going to talk about that. But I do want to remind you that we do have that program still going. If you're thinking about college, if you have a college age or late high school age friend, family, child, grandchild, the FAFSA program that we're dealing with, helping you get, there's 2 points, ready for this one, $2.7 billion a year that the government has set aside that's not being given to our kids. And that doesn't mean that you have to be need-based. It can be merit-based as well. So just think about those and give us a call at 800-306-1990. We'll put you in touch with the right people to help you fill out that FAFSA report, fill out the CSS profile, all that information. Your friends at Ron Siegel Radio, we've got you covered. We're going to go back to our conversation now. We are chatting with Kelly Ernby, State Assembly candidate, 74th District. Had some good conversation about illegal immigration, homelessness. If you missed any part of it, go back and listen earlier in the broadcast. You can listen to the replay. Crime in California. Is there any crime in California? So tell me what you have in mind there.
Well, let me just tell you why it's so important.
Okay.
So I know we all know about the propositions that have passed 36, 47, 57. You hear about AB 109, and all of this over the last decade have resulted in releasing dangerous criminals onto our street. Our laws are very lax for criminals now. If you steal less than $950, you're barely punished anymore. And so what we need to do is return our state to law and order. And we are giving criminals more rights than the regular person. And so I want to fight for our families to be able to use the parks and walk in their neighborhoods and make sure we have public safety again.
Isn't that amazing how the way some of the measures are written, people are voting for things to say, something, let's let the criminals out. And if you walk up to somebody and say, are you pro-murder or pro-breaking and entering or pro-robbing me? They'll say, no, you got to be nuts, Ron. Right? But I say, well, what did you vote for?
Yeah, and a lot of those propositions, we know very well they're misleading what they tell you. And I will tell you from experience as a deputy district attorney, I've had to battle some of these propositions. I've had to fight to keep dangerous third strike criminals, including one that was one of the heads of the Mexican mafia, was eligible for release under Proposition 36. Of course, my work kept him behind bars and many others. But these are not... People are being misled to think that we need to release the criminals onto the street and reduce all the felonies to misdemeanors. I think everybody can see what's happening because you can see the crime on the streets and the theft rising, and the regular people are waking up and they understand we have to return our state to law and order.
Well, I'm going to submit that, the solution there, there's certain areas that the government is the solution. Right? In the absence of the government solving a problem, we end up taking things into our own hands. Right? And you end up going back to the days of the Wild West where everybody had a sidearm, right? And you're wearing it and you're saying, okay, you want to rob me? Here I am. And there's errors that come from that. But we're going to protect our families one way or another. If the government's not going to take on that role, who's going to do it?
Right. That's a very important feature of the government. That's something they should be doing. Taking care of our roads and infrastructure and public safety. Those are things that are classic our government should be doing. And in California, we've decided we're not going to do it. We're going to tax everyone and we're going to have needles on our street. We're going to not prosecute anyone who's using drugs on our streets. It's crazy what's happening.
Yeah, and you got to wonder about, we have a lot of law enforcement people that come on the broadcast with us, and they talk about it all the time. Why go out and, arrest people when we know that the state is not behind us, right? They say, you know, like you said, $950. Well, that can be, that's a lot to a lot of people, right? $950, I mean, listen to Bernie, and that would be almost a living wage, right? So that's a 2/3 of a month's salary, right? That's his idea. So do we want to so it's legal to steal that now?
Well, they just reduced it to a misdemeanor that in our society, in our county, a lot of misdemeanors, nobody does any jail time for that. And the punishment is so minor that it encourages people to go and steal the Amazon packages off your front porch, to break into your car and steal the items that are in your car. And that's what's happening. And you can look at the numbers and you can see the crime is increasing. And that's a policy problem that has led us here. And what Sacramento is saying is, we don't want anybody to have to go to jail. We want to, you know, we don't think anybody should have to go to jail.
It's a participation trophy again, right? There, if you're going to do the wrong thing, right, you have to pay the consequence. It's risk and reward. So now the risk, if I go and steal $950 from somebody, the risk is that I get a slap on the wrist, right? I mean, that's basically the way it is. There was, when I was in college, 40 years ago, something along those lines, right? We were pretty young, we were foolish, and we would go out and we would go to a local bar and drive home. There was the risk now has changed to where now I go to dinner and I take an Uber, right? Because that the risk there is a lot greater, even though it's just as stupid today as it was then, right? So that $950 is going the same thing. It's saying, okay, so I can steal $950, it might cost me a $25 ticket.
Right. You're absolutely right. And think about a child. You can't encourage children to do the right thing without there being some kind of a punishment, whether it's time out or whatever you do for your own kids and families. But we all know that people are going to take advantage of the system if they can. And that's what's happening. And
it's a leadership issue, because when you hear the governor, or if you hear a president, or you hear, we look at our elected officials as being the leaders that have been elected, whether you agree with them or disagree with them. And when they start saying, well, it's okay to come to this country illegally, right? Then we start saying, well, I guess doing something illegal is not bad, right? Then we're teaching our kids that, and it's going to be generations to fix. Talk about the coronavirus a little bit, what you're seeing within that arena, so we can understand what you see for the state's role in that.
Yeah, well, so the 74th district includes Costa Mesa. So if you've been following the coronavirus, you know, Costa Mesa is the hub of one of the issues right now, because the governor's office decided that we're going to send coronavirus patients to Costa Mesa, to the Fairview Developmental Center. And of course, the city and local leaders have gone into court. They now have an injunction, and they're preventing that from happening. It looks like it's not going to happen, but they scared a lot of people.
Sure.
And so it's top of mind. People are scared. I get a lot of emails and questions. I'm only a candidate running for office, and I have a lot of people calling me and saying, what's going to happen if you're immunocompromised? You're scared because of what the media is saying about it. And I tell people, relax, it's not going to happen. It can't happen. That center is not equipped and should not be a part of any quarantine or isolation facility. There are places, and should be places, is something I want to look at. What is the state plan if we did have a major outbreak of something very serious? I'm not sure this is that, but what is the plan? There should already be a quarantine plan and an isolation plan, and there's health and safety codes, and there's all kinds of laws that regulate where you can quarantine and isolate people. And I am baffled at the idea that they could suddenly create, let's go to Fairview without talking to the city, and have that not be in a written protocol and a plan in place. And if we don't have that, then California needs me even more than I thought, because we need to get up there and we need to be ready. We need to be ready for anything like this, and it shouldn't be a surprise to people.
That's the whole thing, is it shouldn't be a surprise. I mean, we've had bubonic plague, 100, 200 years ago, right?
Right.
So we know that those things are possible. So there should be some sort of an emergency action plan.
Right. I'm shocked that we're even having this discussion, because it should be automatic.
Is it, in your opinion, is it punitive because you are in Orange County is a conservative area, and the governor is obviously not conservative? Do you think it might be some punitive actions there?
I don't know.
Okay.
I mean,
I'll say it, yes.
I saw
I
a
think it
big
is.
press conference. When I saw the press conference, I saw Harley Ruda say at first he thought this must be a hoax because they launched a huge press conference. All the political figures got up and gave a political speech, and they had no answers to any questions about anything. And I said, is this a hoax? Like, is this a political show? 9 days before the election and the primary that I'm running tomorrow, please vote, everyone. There's a vote for Kelly Ernby for assembly. But I was concerned that it was some kind of a hoax.
Yeah, I think that Governor Newsom is a hoax, but it's a bad one put on the citizens of California. Just my personal opinion. Great information. Good luck with the candidacy. We appreciate you coming in. Appreciate you chatting with us. As always, I ask, set that first radio preset button to come back here and join Ron Siegel Radio, where we only speak about items affecting your house and your bank account. Thanks to all of our sponsors. A big thanks to John, who's engineering us today. And of course, a special thanks to you for spending a little bit of your day with us. That's all for Ron Siegel Radio. Again, if you have any questions or to meet any of our guests, call me anytime. 800-306-1990. 800-306-1990 or ronsiegelradio.com. And remember, make a lot of money so you can help a lot of people and have a lot of fun. Have a great day. We will talk to you next time on Ron Siegel Radio.